Bonjour, everybody. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nation's organization's main fan page, and you are watching Star Nation's Communications from Home. This is a weekly Tuesday night live stream show that I do right here on the main fan page. And it feels a little strange, I have to tell you, because usually I'm on in the mornings, every morning. And so when I come up here in the evening to do a show, I have to kind of change gears, shift gears a little bit, and having the sunshine stream behind me, too funny. Hey, Rochelle's here. Hang on, just hold on. I'm going to show this. This is one of the things I love about our partners at BeLive app. BeLive TV is that we get to do some really fun stuff like show your comments, and so that is fun. Hello, Rochelle. I'm so glad you're here with me this evening for the show Communications from Home. And for those who don't know me, and because that's always a possibility, right? I'm Yvette Neshi Lokotz. I am the, that title, the CEO, Star Nations Organizations, LLC. And I guess what I'm doing is I am maintaining and holding the sacred space for those who are live stream show hosts for us here at Star Nations Radio Network, and also for the contributing writers at the magazine and the teachers of the academy. And so, this is my career. This is my life, and I love it. I love working with the people here at Star Nations that are with us, and this is kind of what the show is about tonight, really. It's about our gifts and creating, using our gifts and our talents and our experience. And so welcome. And welcome to those who'll be watching the recorded show as well, the video, which is great because we have the ability to be able to show those right here on the main fan page, and then also at our YouTube channel for Star Nations organizations. So you can, if you can't make it to the show, you can always watch the archives. We all do. So if you could do me a favor, because I did something and I'm blaming it on Mercury retrograde. Why not? When I scheduled the show with BeLive, which is something that we can do a week out, right? And so I knew that today, Tuesday, was going to be a very busy day. And I scheduled as much as I possibly could beforehand. And when I did that, I scheduled the show, I believe, for the 12th and not the 10th. And so some of you may be wondering, what happened to the show? Well, I'm going to be asking, hi, Minnie. Minnie's here with us too. I'm asking those people who are watching the live show, if you could do me a favor. Oh, thank you, Minnie. This is one of my sisters. Thank you. I appreciate the compliment, Minnie. I'm hoping that you guys can give me a hand. I've got my phone here too, because I'll be doing the same thing. Is that I think it's really, really important that we share the show out tonight because of my faux pas. You're getting nothing, Rob. I can see your comment. Are you not seeing the video, or are you not hearing my voice? Yeah, thank you, Rochelle. Rochelle just shared it. I think it's really, really important that we share the broadcast tonight because of my faux pas. Scheduling it to air on the wrong date, 2 days from now. You should. If there was a camera here and saw my face when I looked at it and it said broadcasting in 2 days, I thought, how can that be? So I double checked, and sure enough, I put the 12th instead of the 10th. So I am going to share the show, and I'm going to share it in a couple of different places. Usually I only do one, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to share it to the group, the closed group for the radio. And there we go. I'm going to say, I call the community there peeps. Peeps, I'm live streaming. Okay, and then please join me. And the hard part of the whole thing is spelling. and spelling. And it's got, thank you, Minnie. Minnie shared too. There we go. Thank you so much, Minnie. And I'm going to share it also to my timeline. And usually what I normally do is just share it to my timeline, but that's what I'm going to do. Friends live streaming. And then please join me. There. Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. Rob, can you tell me a little bit more? You say that I'm getting nothing. Okay. This is the thing is, here, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to share it to a friend. I'm going to share it to Rob, friend, Rob Kendall. Here you go. All right. And now at least he's got it. Oh, see, I shared it to you, Rob. Yeah, it's Mercury retrograde. You know, what can I say? So tonight's Tuesday night, and I have to say that today has been one of those days, and I have to say I love it. It was pure adrenaline rush. It's a busy day, but it's a good busy because we had 3 shows, including this one, right? 3 live stream shows, including this one, and the native live stream that I do in the morning. So that's 4 shows in one day. And we published the Star Nations magazine July issue today. So 5 big things happening in one day. And we also, then you still have to tuck in around all of that. My mom and Paul and having kitchen duty. And so you can say that it was busy, but it was a good busy. It was a good busy. Rob is saying, I got it now. Restarted the app. Oh, good. All right, good. Thank you, Rob. I'm so glad you're here, that everything's working for you now. Excellent. Now, tonight's show, where I got the idea from for the topic of the show was really from the native live stream in the morning. I think it was late last week. One of the cards that we had drawn was about using our gifts, our spiritual gifts that we came in to our physical life with. And so those are the ones that I call innate gifts. You didn't have to do anything to get them. What you have to do is nurture them and use them, right? And what's added to that on top of it, kind of like a sundae, if you will. I haven't had a sundae in years, but like a sundae, I get to add some more good stuff on top of it, right? And so add on top of your innate gifts, the gifts that you came in with, you add on top of that talents that you picked up along the way, and sometimes those are actually connected to your gifts. And I'll give you an example. One of the talents I have that some people don't know I have is that I know how to juggle. And when I worked for the state of Wisconsin, I had my juggling balls. They're kind of soft, cushy ones, get a little bit of a weight to them. But that's what I would use when I would have a writer's block, because I helped to answer client letters that came into the Child Support Bureau. And so sometimes, because we were in cubes, and so, they got the short walls, and sometimes you could see me juggling the balls going up above the partition. And so my coworkers always knew that I had a writer's block, that I was trying to work something out. And instead of ruminating and getting all wound up about it, what I'd do is I'd take out the juggling balls and I'd start to juggle, and kind of relax me and let the energy flow. To me, that is a talent. That's on top of the gifts that I came in with. And then you add on top of that your experiences. I call them the good, the bad, and the ugly. experiences, because they all have to do with our life lessons. And so everything that you've experienced and that you've learned about and learned from goes on top of that. And so we're able to express our creativity through all of those layers, right? And on top of that, like the cherry on top of the sundae, is our wisdom. And the wisdom gained is all of your experiences, including your gifts, so that you can share it with others. Okay. And for me, that's walking the red road. That's taking all the wisdom that you've gained by living your physical life and walking your spirit walk, and taking your wisdom back to your community to be of service. Yeah. And so that's what this show is basically about. And it came from a card draw that I did last week. And out of that particular discussion, what came to me was that one thing that I know is that a lot of people will ask me this: I don't know what my gifts are. I don't know what they are. What are my gifts? That's usually a pretty big question. And once they ask that question, I tell them that they've already started. They may not even know it, but they've already started. And so when we're using our gifts, one of the things that I realized last week is that when we're manifesting, that's what our creations do, is they manifest into the physical world, right? And it's our responsibility, once spirit does their thing, to pull all of the elements together to be able to manifest something into the physical world. Then it's our responsibility to ground it to the earth plane, because we're the ones in the physical body, right? And I realized after my show with Orchard and Carl Franklin last month, one of the things that Carl had said, and I took note and I took it to heart, and that was when he was explaining about Grandmother Earth. Her vibration, her frequency is already in the fourth dimension and working her way into the fifth dimension. And in order for us to stay with her, we follow her. She doesn't follow us. We follow her. And so our vibration, our frequency has to be in a certain range to vibrate with her, right? Okay. So the reason why I'm even saying this, and I know it's one of those knowings, one of those feelings, right? Is that when we ground our manifestation to the earth plane, we're using our gifts and we're grounding it through our physical body, which means that our intention should include being grounded to the fourth dimension frequency, not the third, not the 3.5, not the 3.75, 3.25, or 9.75. It is to the fourth dimension. And so I'm in the middle of doing that. And whenever I'm working on the magazine, whenever I'm working on the Star Nation's radio promotions, working on the Academy pieces, I intentionally am thinking and feeling that this is being grounded to the earth plane in the fourth dimension. Yeah, it's a little mind-blowing, actually, because, when we're just kind of going about our day, our daily life kind of stuff, we don't specifically consciously think that way. But I started last week doing that. And because it was that one of those light bulb moments, it's like, oh my gosh, we should be doing this intentionally. We teach this all the time. is what is your intention? Be clear with your intention. And so I've started doing that. And one of the things that, even on the telephone calls that I've been doing with clients, is talking about this piece, and finding that their reaction to that piece of information is like they're going, oh my God, I didn't think about that. And so thanks to Carl Franklin and Orchun for bringing us that information and helping us to understand that shifting of your thoughts and your manifestation, and you're grounding it. Yeah. Now, when we're talking about our gifts and creating with them, that one question that I get is, how do I know what my gifts are? Many of us, when we first start out waking up to our physical existence and acknowledging, recognizing that we are spirits, energy, having that physical experience, right? And many times our mental mind is what gets kind of revved up. It's like we are reading voraciously. We are like sponges with information and taking so much in. Do you remember those days? Do you? I do. And wondering, so what are my gifts? What are they? And with students, I started calling them our innate gifts, the gifts that we came in with, that there was nothing that you had to do other than to come into your physical life. And one of the things that how I kind of pieced it together for myself all those years ago is that it's those things that if you think back to your childhood, and what were the things that you liked to do the most, that brought you the most fun and joy? The fun and the joy. And sometimes it takes a little bit, because there's some of us have kind of forgotten that part of our lives, But what was it when you were a kid that when you did it, you were so much fun and you'd forgot about the time? Sometimes your mom or your dad would be out there, yelling for you to come in. It's getting dark. Get in the house. That was my mom. And I'll tell you a little story. And I shared this the other morning with the group in the morning during that live stream. I can't tell you how old I was, probably around 8 or 9. And in my family, our chores were assigned to us, and almost all the time they were assigned to us by our gender. And I was the only girl. I was the only daughter. Okay. So anything that was in the house, cleaning, dusting, doing dishes, vacuum cleaning, that was my chore. Anything outside was my brother's. And at that time, I think, geez, they get to have the fun stuff. They get to mow the lawn. I love mowing the lawn. And so, and they didn't. In fact, they would wait to mow the lawn until the grass was pretty tall and they were practically making hay, right? And so, because raking is much like sweeping, I could go out and help them. And so here I am with a rake, and I'm raking up, this dry grass. And what I started to do in the front lawn is I would create floor plans big enough for you to walk through. And when I would walk through, I think, oh, that wall doesn't feel good. We're going to move that. We're going to create a different wall. We're going to put the wall over here. And I would start changing the floor plan. All right. That was when I was 8 or 9 years old. Yeah. Fast forward to 1996 when I read my very, very first book on feng shui. And let me tell you, back then, I think there was only 2, maybe 3 books on feng shui at the time. There were no classes in the Midwest. Everything was happening on the East Coast or the West Coast, right? And so I read my very first book, and I remember feeling like this felt good. I knew what they were already talking about. And that's how I realized that working with something like feng shui and energy, the flow of energy, was an innate gift. Nobody taught me how to do it, to rake out those floor plans and how to change things around, where the door went, where windows went, walls, that kind of thing. And so, to me, that was my way of being able to say that is a gift of mine, to understand and feel how the energy flows through a space. Okay. The other things that I know that are an innate gift is I'm really good at puzzles, figuring out puzzles of all kinds. The whodunit books, I already knew who had committed the crime. Movies the same way. Native American dancing, we wear bead necklaces, and they're really long, and what you do is you kind of wrap them around about 3 or 4 times, and when you're dancing, or when I was an usher for Standing Rock, Standing Rock, anyway, the Indian ceremonial, I would be running up and down stairs all night, and the beads, the necklaces would get tangled. And about once a week, I would have to take them apart to try to untangle them. And most of the friends that I had that were either dancing or ushers, what they would end up doing is breaking the string and just restringing it, because to them that was easier. Not me. Here I am untangling them and figuring out the puzzle. It was easy. It was easy. So what I'm trying to explain to you is that you already know what your gifts are. If you take the moment or moments and think back and remember what parts of the things that you did when you were a child that came to you very, very easily. Some people early in school, math comes to them really, really easily, like it's their second language. Not me. That didn't happen to me. English did. Writing, grammar, that came easy, but not the math stuff. Sometimes I think it was the way they taught it. Hey, Rochelle is saying climbing trees and looking at the stars. That's what she loved doing when she was a kid. So what is that about the trees? Climbing the trees and looking at the stars. That's, to me, I did the same thing, Rochelle. I did the same thing. I would go out and look up at the stars and was always wondering, where my real home was. Is my real home up there? Or the ancestors, are they looking down on us? And that kind of thing. So our gifts, when we create and we use our gifts, that's another time, I believe, that we're in our hearts and we're outside of time and space. And so when you're creating something or working with something that you just love doing, that you lose track of the time. You do. When I'm making drums, that 3.5 hours can go by so quickly. Or I also like to paint rooms, not artistry, like fine art painting. No, like I love to paint rooms, and I also like to iron. Why? because it's kind of another form of meditation for me. Yeah. And I love picking out the color and prepping the walls and all of that. I used to know exactly how much time it would take me to paint like one wall. That would be like fun, you know, to get everything, all the stuff out and to be able to paint, because it would take me an hour from the time I would set up to the time I would clean up and paint one wall. It would take me about an hour. And so I knew that I would be able to have some fun. And it was very meditative. Things would think, I would get impressions, answers would come. And I think that was one of the reasons why I liked it so much. It was another form. It was a moving meditation for me. Yeah. I do know that I like to create the magazine. There is something about, and it fits me. It really does. It fits me. I love the adrenaline of a new project, the creative process. And so, and it has been this way from the very first time I found the app that we could create a digital magazine. And that first issue that I put together, gathering all of the raw materials and the contributing writers sending me their articles, and if they had pictures to go with them, or finding their pictures and creating that very first issue, I knew I was hooked. I knew it because, you're pulling together bits and pieces from other people and taking their creation and putting a beautiful frame around it, and having the energy flow through that creation. I loved it. And, I was looking for a different way to blog when we first started the magazine. I was thinking, okay, I was actually looking for my business at the time was Sacred Hoop. And I thought, well, maybe we could do this with Star Nations too. Maybe we could do a blog through the website. And I had already been blogging for almost 10 years. And so I was looking for something new. How can we do this in a new way? And that's when I found Magcast and how they can help us to turn our articles into a magazine that's digital. And so, so that was back in October of 2013 was our very first issue. And it has been that same feeling every time. And we're going on issue number 63. And I still get the same adrenaline rush. I get the joyful emotion when I find the perfect picture to go with someone's article. I love when we're laying it out and I get all the prepped stuff to Elm and they start the layout and I get to see the very first PDF. That's the draft of the draft kind of thing, and I'm just so excited about it. So, and then for today, this afternoon, to actually hit the publishing button and then start promoting it, there is such an immense feeling of accomplishment and a lot of love for those contributing writers and how they pour their hearts, their soul, their experiences, their gifts into their articles every single month. And, and July is no different. Wait till you read some of those articles that are about independence. It's truly something. It really is. And so I do have a couple of things to share with you. Let's see. Rochelle, my bedroom, I need my bedroom painted. If I lived close enough, I'd be over there to help you with that. I wouldn't do it for you, but I'd help you with it. Rob is saying, Michelangelo, got nothing on you, huh? 30 years for one ceiling. Yeah, exactly. But look at the beauty and look how many generations have gone and to admire it and to take it in. And we get to see it even if we don't go there personally. We can hop on a website and go and look at it. That creating with your gifts. Now, if you had to guess, what is one of your gifts, because we have many. If you had to guess what your primary gift is, what would that be? If you didn't already know, but you had to guess, what would it be? Because our imagination is so connected with it. Our imagination, our thoughts. How sometimes you get that nudge, you get that idea on how to do something, or to create something, to make something. I watched my mom do it because she's still doing beadwork. She's been doing beadwork since she was 12 or 13 years old. And so all the things that she's created in those amount of years, and she just turned 99, and she's still doing beadwork. She's still creating. And picking out the colors of the beads and mulling over what do I want to make this time, and watching that process. It's amazing to watch it unfold and start to take shape. But it starts out with an idea, a thought. And then we can ask for help, right? We can ask our spiritual team for help when we think, oh, well, how do I do that? Show me how I can do that. I do that with drum making all the time. I'm asking the drum mother, show me how to do this. It's like, I remember learning how to do splicing of the lace. I would intentionally break a lace to learn how to splice. Now that is the first time I did it. And oh man, sweating bullets, nervous. What happens if I can't do this? And so, yes. Hi, Maggie. Maggie Ryden's in the house. She says healing. Exactly. I could see that for you so easily, isn't it, Maggie? That Maggie is here locally, and she is our resident acupuncturist, Chinese medicine, and I can certainly, yes, certainly, and with the healing piece. When would you say, Maggie, that again it has to do with the sensing of the energy, right? Sensing of the energy and that flow. Yeah. In some respects, I wonder, is it has anything to do like with communication of sorts? To be able to read it. Yeah. And Rochelle is saying comforting others in social work. That empathy and compassion. That's what I would see in that, comforting others. A part of your service and taking that. And Rochelle, when you're with somebody or just listening for the first time to them, do you get the impression of the energy flow with them? Or, when you listen to their story, to be able to sense that flow from them? And Maggie is saying very much so. Yeah. I could see that communication, because you're working with, of course, your client. I don't even know, man, doesn't sound like the right word for that. With the person that you're assisting. But it's the flow of the energy in their body. It's the flow of their story and what they're telling you. And it's actually very, very similar to Rochelle's. Rochelle has, that she's actually helping their physical life as well. Yeah. Rob is saying, when I was very young, sitting off alone with the trees. Yes. And that you found comfort and joy in that, right, Rob? Yeah. I wonder, do you feel like you actually communicated with the trees? Could you feel them? And Maggie is saying, yes, I know what points to use to treat them. Mm-hmm. Yep, I could see that. So one of the, the gifts, these are the gifts, that piece of communication and relating. It's that relationship between you and another being, right? And that's a gift. Not everybody can do that, and that's okay. Not everybody has to do that. Um, and Rochelle is saying, yep, sometimes depending on the person. Yep. Yeah. And there's another gift I have. And some of that came out when I was a child support worker out in the county, not so much at the state, but at the county, is that I realized that I got more information, energetic information from both the custodial and non-custodial parent by watching their body language and watching their eyes when they were talking to me and feeling, oh, that's a lie. Or, oh my gosh, that's the truth, because you didn't get that very often. And so it was something different. You could feel it. And so I realized that is also part of a gift, is to be able to feel the energy of between the truth and a lie. And watching the body language, that is a whole another series of because people learn how to do it, but I was never formally taught. I kicked over my water. I was never formally taught, although some would say that the Native American communication and language relies very much on being able to read between the lines, the energetic lines. Oh, and Minnie is saying connecting other with nature. Yes, others. Yes, and feeling. See, I have this is what I'm sensing, is that much of what we do is with energy, because our body is reading it all the time. Our light bodies, when the energy comes through, is decoding it for us, right? So that by the time it gets to our mental body and our physical body, our emotional body, is that it's already being decoded for us to fit our innate gifts. And so we get that information from that energy signal. And so we have the ability to be able to run it through, let's call it a filter, which is our gift, and how we take in that information and what we do with it, with that information. Does that make sense? I want to show you a picture. Here we go. I found this. I thought, boy, that really fits tonight. It's about being grateful and inspired and joyful and creative, adventurous, artistic, fluid. When it comes to our gifts, in that childlike innocence, we can feel that flow. And this is one of the reasons, another good reason to do our healing work, is to heal those emotional and physical traumas that are an interference with our expressing our gifts and our talents. Yeah. Because sometimes, that fear factor kind of comes up, especially when you're creating something artistically, it seems, or even writing, anything that has to do with the arts, is because, we get the thing, what are other people going to think, and placing value on their opinion. A good friend of mine, one of my sisters, she's a fine artist. She does artwork, and she won't have any of her pieces judged, because she doesn't want that to be an interference in how she creates, and relying on what someone else is going to judge her work. She likes to share her work with others and likes to hear the comments and suggestions, but she doesn't want to enter her pieces into a judgment. I can't blame her. Can't blame her. I actually agree with her. And Maggie is saying with trees as well. Yes, absolutely. Beings, we're just going to put them all together. All of our relatives, whether they're the two-legged or not, all of them, right? Yeah. And Rochelle, when I sense someone not being truthful, I feel like saying liar, liar, pants on fire. Yeah. I understand. Where did that saying come from? When did it start? Who started that? Liar, liar, pants on fire. Something to look up, which is another thing I'm good at. It's trivia. If you're ever doing plain trivia, you want me on your team because I remember stuff that has no other meaning. That's why they call it trivia. One time we were playing a game, and what was that called? It was called trivia, I think. Come to think of it, was when it first came out. One of the questions is, how many windows are there in the White House? I sat there for a second and said 132. And there's 132. I must have read it somewhere. Rob is saying, now I feel tree far more than I like people. Yes. Yeah. Well, there's a healing quality. Isn't that right, Minnie? There's a healing quality about being with the trees, the standing people, the tree nations. There is. Trivia pursuit. Thank you, Rochelle. That's right. And Rochelle says, I'm excellent at trivia too. There is something about being in nature and among the trees, specifically. In gardens of any kind for me. I love walking out in them. So I want to show you, let's see, the next, the gift. I saw this. I'm going to show this, give it I thought, boy, that's a really good symbol, a representation of our gifts. Sometimes we don't know what they are, but they're wrapped so beautifully for us. We might not even sense the wrapping, but they are beautiful. And they're meant for every single one of us. And we have many, 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 many gifts, some more primary than others, but we all have them. And we're all meant to use them. We're all meant to use them, to create with them, to express our soul through them. I'm going to say that again, to express our soul through them. Because when we do that, it really is important that we ground them to the earth plane. It's a part of our walk here, to have that joy of being able to do that. And when we don't do that, either consciously or unconsciously, there is a sense of almost selfishness because we're not sharing it, because we're not creating it, we're not expressing it through our gifts. And when we do, there is an immense amount of joy to it, and that feeling of accomplishment, And I know that sounds like our ego, but when it's in balance, I really feel that's when we feel the most amount of joy. That's when you're happy dancing in the kitchen. That's what I call it. Happy dancing in the kitchen is when we're doing that. All right, let's see. I'm going to get caught up in the comments here. Rob is saying, who has won most of the Stanley Cups of any U.S. base? Hockey, Stanley Cup. Are they out of Canada? Maybe? I don't know. don't follow hockey trivia. All right. You're from Michigan. I'm not from Michigan. Rochelle is from Michigan. Yeah. All right. Okay. There. Rochelle is saying, yes, my late husband and I saw all the games, the home games. Yeah, from 1971 and 72. Okay, we got two hockey people in the house. So here is, I want to show you using our gifts to create. Okay, I'm going to give it a solo. This is the cover page of the July issue. And when we create the issue, all of the contributing writers who would like to have the opportunity to have their title of their article on the cover have a due date to get it to me. And out of that list, are the titles are selected. And I also search for the cover picture to go with it. Every month we have a list of topics. And out of those topics, I ask my spiritual team, what topic is best to have on the cover for the highest good? And so they show me which one it is, or which ones. In the early days, it was multiple. It could be this or it could be that. It could be this or it could be that. And so I would have, like, I don't know, sometimes up to 6 images. And then we'd go through the process of selection. Everybody would get a vote. What are your top 1 or 2 on the admin team? And then the more we created the magazines, the imagery that was presented was much more focused and impactful. Okay, so in this particular image for the cover is a sacred site. It's a U.S. Park. It's one of the federal parks, and it's Independence Rock. And one of the topics is about independence. And so when I saw this image, because it's all I put in there in the search was independence, and this was like the second image that came up. And so we're working with our spiritual team all along the way, and so looking at the titles that come in, which titles we're going to have the opportunity to be their energy expressed on the cover. Yeah. All right. So we take all of these raw materials, the image, the titles, and I send it over to Elf Elm, and they have their elfin magic, and the cover is created. And and they send it to me to proof, and sometimes we do a little tweaking and here and there, not this font, maybe a different font, maybe this color, not that color. In this particular cover, we did something different. We usually have a banner going kitty corner on the bottom that says bonus on it, but this time we have it going across the bottom because I didn't want to take away from the independent monument. Yeah. So, the process itself in creating the magazine is very much using our gifts. Elf Elm, my sister-in-law who does the cover, she is InDesign, Adobe InDesign for over 20 years. She's very creative in what she does with the layout. And the owner of the company over there, my niece, she works with the text version, which is what you see on your phone and on your tablets. And so she's fine-tuning that and has come up with some really interesting designs for that one too. But the cover is the one that probably is the most impactful because it gets our attention first, right? Yeah. And so the titles that are on this month's issue, this one happens to be by Brandeline Johnson. And the title of that is 6 Tips to Transforming Your Life and Business. And Coco Pelli. Coco Pelli is about creation, and it's fertility, right? And Coco Pelli was actually half man and half God. And he is a deity that comes out of the Southwest in northern Mexico. And so when I saw Coco Pelli, I knew that it would fit for Brandeline's article. And she says that is that when we're looking at not just our businesses, but also our life, and we're increasing the vibration, we're upping the vibration of it, and we're in a creative mode, right? And we're sorting out, what do we keep, what do we retire, and what do we create? And so she has the 6 tips in transforming that. And and if you have a business, I think this would be really helpful. If you kind of been in the plateau, and you're looking for a way to be able to maybe put more energy back into your business to have that creation flow again. Yeah, that's a good one. I love that image too of Coco Pelli. And for those people who listen to my morning live stream, you know a lot more about Coco Pelli than some other people might. And this one is the Eclectic Pagan. The writer is Carla Jo Worth, and this is her column called the Eclectic Pagan. And what she wrote about is independence. And Carla Jo is such a great teacher. She shares historical kind of information, and explains where certain things are derived from. And if you like trivia, you're going to love that kind of stuff, right? But Carla Jo, what she wrote about was the independence. She wrote about how organized religion, structured religion, what that she grew up with just didn't fit her. And when she made the decision that she was going to walk a different path with her religion, and turn to Wiccan and a solitary witch, that had a lot of repercussions to it, right? And along the way, she's telling this a story about how she got to that point, and where the independence came to her with that was when she started doing a lot of work with the goddess and with the Irish or the Celtic traditions, and how the Trinity, the male, female, and the goddess all kind of fit together, and it fit her better. And she found spiritual independence in that. And that's what she writes about. And the picture that I found to go with it basically says that it's that balance between the male and female energies. And in between that is the divine, is the goddess. And I love that picture. So yeah. Oh, is Patty in the house too? Oh, I don't know. I didn't see if she was. Hi, Patty. Loved your article in the magazine this month. I know. I've got the picture for that too. We're getting to it. Let's see which one's coming up. This one is Wisdom Keeper's Path. This is the title of the column for Eddie Mullins. And Eddie wrote an article about the frequency of love. And his article, the reason why I brought this up is because notice the swirl that represents the creator, spirit. And we just had a card this morning about the Field of Plenty, and it's a Seneca tradition. And the Field of Plenty is where spirit has all of the information to bring our creations to the earth plane, to create them. And the horn of and the Seneca represents that from the weaving of the basket of the cornucopia, because the center is smaller, and as it expands out toward earth, it gets bigger. And Eddie's article talks about the expansion and the frequency of love. Yep. Yep. And this is my article, my editorial. It's about sacred sites. A sacred site near you. One of the things I know for sure is that we have selected, our soul selected, where we're living, physically located. And there are sacred sites near you that you may not even know about right now, or maybe you do. And it is how Spirit can show us and lead us to another level of perception. And so this is the Bluffs, Granddad's Bluff, actually, in La Crosse, and I talk about the Driftless region, and so sacred sites, yeah. And I actually included a video about one of my favorite places here in Wisconsin, near the Baraboo Bluffs, is Parfrey's Glen. I think you'll like that. It's a very short video. Here's Patty's. We're going to give this one a solo. This is Patty Heredia's article, and her column is the Therapy Center, and she wrote about food, unleashing the healthy powers of real food. Real food. And it is not just educational, but it's an inspirational. It is inspirational. And the photo that I found to go with that, because she gave us a list, a very doable list of certain foods, fruit, and vegetables that we can add into our diet. And most of us already have them in our diet. But she explains why they're so important for us to have a healthy body. And in order to be able to create with our gifts, to utilize our gifts, to express our soul through our gifts, we need a healthy body. And so Patty's article is so helpful in that and inspirational. Yeah, I loved it too, Minnie. I did. And Mary Anderson Fry is saying, I love La Crosse. Me too. The Driftless region. Let's see. I think I have one more. This is Julie Hedges' column, The Tarot Journey to the Stars. And she wrote about, the title of it is Slow Your Roll. And she's explaining the energy for the summer and how the stars, that ancient language, is showing us why it's important for us to slow down a little bit this summer and to take it in, to take in the energy, and it almost feels like an integration period rather than, the fast moving of when we're upping our vibration. So, and this is her kitty. Could you not like that picture? Julie submitted her pictures to go with her article, and almost every month she does that too. But, Slow Your Roll is really a good article about, she says it's a season finale before a new series begins. So we're taking stock and getting prepared for the next expansion of energy, right, from Spirit. And I think Rob knows this kitty. Sa-Lin. That's right. And that's so nice to be able to have a being that is a soul that is near and dear to Julie's heart to be a part of her article. And this is the Mystery School, Ortrun Franklin and Carl Franklin. Now, Ortrun had a divine inspiration that she wanted to write about this month, and that was the independence of what is independence? What is independence? She shares how her family came to the United States as immigrants and what it was like for her as a child. And it is a heart-touching article. And I think that you'll understand and come to love Orchard even more from reading her article. Yeah, I know I did. And I love Carl and Orchard. Oh, hey. I guess we're going to segue into classes. The other way that we create here at Star Nations is we're starting to offer classes again in the physical form here at Star Nations Academy, where I'm broadcasting from. And the first one up is in August, and that is August 11th and 12th. I had promised those in the closed group in the academy, because we're doing the mini classes about the shamanic journey. And many had not been able to do their first shamanic journey because they didn't have a mentor. They didn't have somebody to be able to show them the way. And so I was trying to find somebody in their local area, and Julie Hedges goes, well, why can't you do it? And I said, well, you guys are going to have to travel here. You know, I can't come to Michigan to teach because I have a travel restriction called a 99-year-old. And so I'm fulfilling a promise, offering this class. And so that is another way that our creation can happen using our gifts. One of those gifts is my ability to be able to explain information in a way that is that people get it, you know. And so that this is my first class out in, I think, three years that I'm going to be teaching. And that's going to be here at the Academy on August 11th and 12th. And it's very reasonable, extremely reasonable. It's like $20 to come and spend a Saturday and part of a Sunday. And we'll be doing some journey work. Okay. And the other one is this one I can't wait for. Minnie and I have co-taught for many, many years. And Rochelle is coming. Yep, she's coming. Can't wait for the class, and that is the Shamanic Journey class. Oh, thank you, Jill. She says, and you do it so well. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And so this class, The Magic of Hogwarts, you know, when Minnie and I combine our talents and our gifts, there's magic. There really is. We've taught together many times, and we haven't done a co-teaching in quite a while. And so this is our first time in probably 4 years or even longer. And so this is on September 22nd and 23rd. And it's a Magic of Hogwarts. What are we doing? We're teaching some of the fundamentals. If you already have your fundamentals like dowsing and sensing energy and those kinds of things, and you just want to shore it up and have a really strong foundation, maybe go back and ask questions about something that you didn't quite understand. We can hopefully help you understand that in a deeper way to have a stronger foundation. But if you're just starting out, this is also a good class so that you have a strong foundation to build from, right? And it's going to be fun. Minnie is going to be doing forest therapy and walk, and she's also going to be talking and teaching about wands. I'm covering divination and defense against the dark arts. We're going to be doing a little shamanic work, so it's going to be pretty darn good. All right, and then the last one here is mystical healing Mystical Energy Healing 101. And then the teacher is Polly Jo LeBay. Polly Jo is coming from Massachusetts to teach this class. And it is all about healing our heart chakra, doing the healings around the heart. And she's also offering private sessions on the Friday before and the Monday after the class. And if you'd like to have that private session, just let me know and we'll get you situated, okay? Healing with our gifts. I'm hoping that we had some information here that is going to be helpful to you to identify your gifts and to create using them, expressing your soul through your gifts. It's going to be beautiful. It is beautiful. And if we can at all be helpful to you through Star Nations, please let us know. And we'll do our very best to be able to support you. Okay? All right. Well, with that, thank you for being with me tonight and with this chat about our gifts and creating. I appreciate it. And thank you to those who are watching the recorded video. I appreciate that as well. Tomorrow, Wednesday, is Polly Jo LeBay. She's back with Soul Connections at 6 p.m. Eastern. No, I'm sorry, 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 6 Central. And that is an hour of divine healing and messages. If you are a healer, a light worker of any kind, and you haven't taken the time to take care of yourself and do your own healing, that is what Wednesday night is about for you. And so I'll be there. Hope to see you there too. With that, I'll see you next week for communications from home, and we'll be together again. Okay. So Bama Mina until we see each other again. Good night, everybody.